Now last month, Adrian Lambourne gave a fascinating talk on the raid on the Falkland Islands. But he said that that Vulcan bomber in 1982 flew from the UK to give the Argentinians notice that they were within the operational range of the British Air Force. And later, a follow-up flight, Blackbutt 6, went down there with the sole purpose of tempting the Argentinians to turn on their radar, because they had Shrike missiles under the Vulcan that sought out the radar signals and gave whoever was emitting the radar signal a bit of a surprise. But the Argentinians were too clever. They kept their radar off. You recall that Adrian said that the Vulcans, to get there, had a whole range of Victor tankers in relay to get them there, and that cobbled together equipment. Mid-air refuelling process hadn't been attempted for a long while, so they had to go and find the equipment to make that happen. But as it so happens, on this flight on the 3rd of June of 1982, as that particular Vulcan on return to Ascension Island linked up with the Victor bomber, rather crudely, it snapped off the refuelling nozzle. The radio message from the Victor was, "Oh shit, that's them for Rio." Because the Vulcan didn't have enough fuel to get to Ascension Island, they had to work out if they had even enough fuel to get to Brazil. And it was doubtful if they would. But they gave a Mayday call, and the Brazilians at first denied them the privilege of hosting them, shall we put it that way. But what other options did they have? So they kept on ploughing on. But the Brazilians had, by this stage, sent up 2 Northrop F-5 fighters to the location where the Mayday call was given. Of course, they'd long gone. And so this Vulcan arrived on the doorstep of Rio de Janeiro, and they wanted to land. Their squadron leader, Neil McDougall, on the way to Rio had a problem. He had these 2 Shrike missiles, and they were causing a lot of drag, away a lot each. So he attempted to fire them, but he had to turn away from the coast because there were fishing vessels ahead of them. So he turned away from the coast, fired, one went, one didn't. It was potentially live, and they were going into a populated city. And of course the Brazilians on the air traffic control wanted to know where they had originated from. And in the end, squadron leader McDougall said, "Oh, bloody hell, Huddersfield." And the Brazilians believed it. They came in, as I said, they were on fumes, and the normal procedure was they would do a circuit above the city and then land. And they thought, well, that wouldn't be a good idea. Here we are, potentially a live missile on board, running out of fuel. So we'll just go straight in. But to go straight in meant losing a lot of height quickly and speed. So they did corkscrewing 60-degree banks to get down to the correct elevation. And they came in, and the aircraft was directed to a hard stand. The captain said, "We have a small problem. Rio is a hot place. The aircraft is pointing towards the control tower with a missile designed to fire at radars, and look what I see above the control tower." How to deactivate the missile? No one knew. So they had to contact Westinghouse in the US, who faxed them the directions to disable the missile. The Brazilians decided that they would take charge of this missile, so they took it down from the wing and it was never seen again. And in the press release, the Brazilians very cleverly said that they weren't actually Shrike missiles, they were self-defense missiles, so there was no need to concern them. Anyway, so there they were, the air crew were in Rio, and the Brazilian host said, well, it'd be a pity if you came to Rio and didn't enjoy some of the actions of Rio. The British military attaché by this stage had contacted MI6, however many guys heading for the bars and nightclubs of Rio. With all these stories about Vulcan bombers, etc., what do we do? MI6 said, well, we've got no operatives in Rio, but we have, the CIA have a couple of operatives, and these 2 operatives, young women, one who spoke with an Australian accent, although she claimed that she was born in Argentina, decided to tag along, wouldn't be attracted to the local life. And that's how it ended up. And so it gets even more bizarre. That they were going to be incarcerated and they were given hotel rooms incommunicado, as Adrian said, although the telephones worked and several of them were able to phone back home and tell them where they were. But the Pope was due to visit Argentina, stopping off at Rio for a service at that very airfield. But the Vulcan was sitting out there, a great big embarrassment to all. So the Brazilians topped it up and said, or words to that effect, and so they did. They departed on the 11th of June, minus the missile.